Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Savage Success Life Coaching. We are back here with the founder and owner, Jennifer Savage herself, to talk more about the work she's doing to help you. We're talking about, work-life harmony, balance, and all the ways that she can help you spiritually, financially, with your career, with your relationship, and so much more, because she truly believes in focusing on mind, soul, and body in all of her courses. And for those of you that may not know, the lady of the hour, Miss Jennifer, welcome back. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm great. Thanks. How are you?
Doing well and excited to have you back here today on our show. By the way, live not only on the podcast, but the Zoomcast, which is what we love to see. And I love getting to see her face to face. So, for those new timers out there, would you mind telling us a little bit about what Savage Success Life Coaching is all about? And by the way, that's the website, savagesuccesslifecoaching.com.
Yep, definitely. Absolutely. So I've been a life and health coach, dual certifications since March of last year. And I've been building my practice the last year, and I've like organically moved more into the life coaching. A big chunk has been career coaching. That seems to be the clients that have been reaching out and wanting me to work with them the most recently. But I do have 90-day programs for career coaching, for relationship coaching, and then also spirituality too. So I'm very much enjoying it. I love it. I just started working with a new client last week. So every time I get a new client, it's like a refreshing opportunity for me to delve into the practice again and just continue to build my passion for it. So I feel very lucky that I have this outlet.
Well, I agree. Thank you for being here and sharing this with us. Also, just to point out, you're based out of New Jersey, right? But you're working with people all over, right? So just to let them know, this is a virtual program. So you could be anywhere around the world.
Yes, absolutely. So I am in South Jersey, actually right outside of Philadelphia, um, across the bridge. So I do most of my um, programs are held through Zoom. I do them through Zoom so they can be held, like you said, anywhere in the world. And then I also, for local people, I do have live sessions too. But for the most part, I've been mainly highlighting and focusing on my remote clients.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, by the way, I still haven't received your notes yet today, so let me just ask, what would you like to share for this for today? What is the topic of conversation?
Okay, awesome. So, what I really wanted to kind of focus in on is the idea of self, because that's truly what all of my coaching programs focus on. It's, your own inner self and how you relate to and interact and nourish yourself and thrive in work, in
Yeah,
relationships, in your life in general. So it's such an important concept, and it is
it
thread
is.
through every program, but mainly in the beginning. We really sit down and look at the difference between people having grown up thinking that thinking about self meant you were being selfish, and that's just not
Yep. No, it's not. Thank you for that. I love hearing that one more time. Self-care is not selfish.
correct. It's not selfish. You're talking about self-care and self-love. And it's so important. And that's truly, like I said, most of my clients come to me and they're having issues with something like their relationships or in work, and they're trying to fix themselves or do self-improvement. And that's something I just talked to my client last night. I'm like, you don't really need improvement or fixing. You're not broken. It's more about um, just nurturing that relationship with yourself and giving yourself grace and giving yourself just enjoying yourself and really truly learning what it is that you want and need out of life. And there's nothing selfish about that.
Beautiful. And by the way, now I have your notes. So hold on. What do you love about yourself right now? That's not a question we should all be asking ourselves, right?
Correct, correct. I start off like all the time with my clients and like asking you right now, what is something that you love about yourself?
I love that I'm a mom.
That's
I
great.
do because I spent so many years. I started late, and I always loved my job. I loved my job, and then I'm like, wait a second, I missed out on the whole family life because I focused so much on career. So, I love the fact that I became a mom, and to me, that's the best thing ever because it's just lifelong. It's the unconditional love and hate you get from your kids, but
Of course.
overall, the goodness. So I love that about myself right now is that I became a mom because it was really hard for me and I did it by myself. So it was like, yeah, that's what I love. I do. What
Oh,
about
that's
you, if you don't mind me
amazing. I
asking?
love that. That is amazing. I love about myself the fact that I'm a lifelong learner and like I say this and it's not just like a catchphrase, but like I truly feel like you're never too late to learn and grow. I mean, I'm 56 years old, I'm a grandma now, and I've changed careers.
Ah,
I've expanding out into coaching and I'm loving the podcast too. This is so exciting, but just the fact that I wasn't afraid to do all of these things and learn and grow. And when you start to feel stagnant in your life, I think that sometimes you just kind of feel like, wow, is this it? What's going on? I'm doing something wrong, and all that. No, life is beautiful and you just have to give yourself the grace to try and fail and learn and any experience is a good experience. You can learn something from things that cause you pain, things that cause you joy and all that. So that's what I think I love about myself right now. I'm very open to receiving and learning and growing.
beautiful. And it's amazing how things change, right? In your course of your life, things that you love about yourself, things that you care about more, things change, and that's okay, right?
Absolutely. And that's how it should be. It's there's not many people that stay in one place and things that things that you may see as problems or things that you need to fix a lot of times are things that we have our inner selves have created to protect ourselves. So
Yeah.
something may have happened to you in your past and you were a child or as you're growing up or even as an adult, and you come up with a habit or a frame of mind to help yourself and to protect yourself. And a lot of times when you start to feel uncomfortable in those things, it just means it's time to take a look at them and say, hey, you know what? Give myself grace. This helped me in the past, but it's no longer helping me. I need to, find new ways to, deal with issues or deal with fear. Fear is huge. Fear is, I think, one of the main contributors to us feeling pain and not thriving is being afraid of the unknown or afraid of the known even. So yeah,
Got it. And then you say, would you talk to anyone else like you do to yourself?
that
Oh,
yeah, that's an interesting one, and I learned that in therapy years ago. But truly, if you know, I do talk a lot or a little bit about your inner self. So your inner child could even be that way. And if you think about it, you were talking about how much you love being a mom and how you adore your children. Can you imagine talking to your children the way you talk to your inner self or your inner child? If you're hard on yourself and are not talking to yourself or thinking about yourself with self-love and self-care, if you turn that around and say, look at how I treat my children, look at how I treat everybody else in my life. I give them grace and I give them forgiveness and I help them to learn and grow. But sometimes with ourselves, we're so hard on ourselves, conditioned to be that way. Again, it comes back to when you were taught that being concerned with your own inner child and self-love was selfish, and it's just not, and that's it. We need to treat our inner child or our inner selves as well, if not better than we treat other people in our lives.
thank you. I totally understand that. And you know what? There's a lot of sometimes with ourselves, let's be honest, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of fear, a lot of I feel like we're not as confident as we can be or loving of ourselves. So yeah, and the things you say to like your friends and your family, my children, like, hey, you're amazing. Look in the mirror, you're beautiful, you got this, all that positive energy that I give and I push to my kids to say and do, hey. What about to me? I don't talk like that to myself. Maybe I should
Absolutely.
start.
I know, I hope so. Definitely. It really is kind of just a game changer when you start to think of it's just really kind of refocusing and turning the lens inward rather than always outward.
Wow.
You're always going to be a good mom. You're always going to be a good person to other people know that. We just want to make sure that we are starting with ourselves too.
Oh my
Definitely.
goodness. All right. At this time, just remind us how we can contact you.
Absolutely. So my website is savagesuccesslifecoaching.com. My email is savagesuccesslifecoaching@gmail.com. Cell is 856-371-8185. And most of all of my contact is on my webpage. So if you go there, please explore it. I'm getting started. I started adding my podcast, so I'm excited. I'm starting to build up my website a little bit more. But absolutely, very hopeful more people get on there and can kind of see what it is that I do and, hopefully set up a consultation, a breakthrough session with me.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for sharing that. Let's also talk. You mentioned, well, did you want to elaborate on anything else before we talk about being your own advocate?
I think so. I think that was, pretty good. Like I said, most of these concepts are interrelated and they will definitely thread throughout my programs, be it, like I said, career coaching versus relationship coaching versus spirituality. These are some of the tenets that truly are my practice is built on. So I love the fact that um, we may be struggling maybe or just need a little more help in certain areas, say career this year or next year. It might be relationships, but these these tenants, like I said, are, definitely are in each of my programs. So and again, it comes down to self-love and self-care is what it really comes down to.
All right. So when you say being your own advocate, can you share and elaborate a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So like I said, a lot of my clients t- tend to focus at this point in time on career. And that is a big thing that I work with my clients. And then also at my job now, a big piece of what we're focusing in on my job, my day job, is advocating and sponsorship and mentorship, these type of things. So it's very important to build out these relationships with other people. But I think it's super important. Step number one is to be your own advocate. And again, relating to your job, a lot of times we are there for other people and we will advocate for other people. But we all, I think, have encountered situations where you don't feel like anybody's there for you. They're not advocating for you. You may feel unseen, unheard, or just that things are not going well. But you can sit down and really look at yourself and say, hey, you know what? Since I've started this job, I've done X, Y, and Z. I've grown this much. I've helped, other people, whatever it is. I've done these particular projects and how they help the company and they helped your coworkers. So it's important that we don't wait for somebody else to speak up for us and to advocate for us. If we are feeling that anxiety or if we're feeling, unseen, unheard, it's important, I think, to really kind of, and that's part of what we do in my career coaching, my life coaching, is to sit down, like we said, hey, what do you love about yourself right now? Same thing. What are you doing well? What are you doing well in your career per se? What is going well? What have you accomplished? And really look at that and say, hey, you know what? I have accomplished so much. And then, don't be afraid to speak up. And again, it turns back into it's not selfish. It's not self-serving in any way. You need to be able to um, teach others how to treat you. Teach others, that you are valuable, that you are an asset to whatever situation it is, career, other relationships too. But advocate for yourself. But that number one step is you have to know yourself. So that's what we do in the life coaching
Got
and
it.
the career
Got it.
coaching.
Thank you. Did you want to share some of the other stories, some of the clients you're working with? What else did you have in mind for us today?
Sure, sure. So, like I said, a lot of my clients, it's funny, they just tend to be at a point in their lives where career seems to be the area that they need the most help with. They're feeling the most stress in that. And we usually figure that out by doing that initial breakthrough session. We'll do the Wheel of Life exercise and have them sit down and really kind of look at all the different areas in their lives. So it'll have like, your job and your family and all different areas of your life. And it's a big circle. And then you kind of rate what is going really well for you or what you feel good about at that particular time and things that are really, really stressing you out at that particular time. And when we get done with that, it's so funny too. It's usually you'll see it's all in one clumped in one area. And then the other side of the wheel seems to be much better. If you're stressed over here, say in job, maybe, your spirituality is good, but your career is really, giving you a lot of trouble and your family's going great, but your career is not and all that. So um a lot of my clients, it's been great because we'll sit down and they'll look at that and it's like, oh, okay. First of all, it's not everything. The whole world's not, collapsing on me. There are some things that are going well, but being able to kind of hone in on, a particular area or two. And then within that, we say, okay, so what is it that we want to get out of this 90-day program? What are two or three things that you really want to focus on and feel better about attainable goals? So it's not like I want to become president of the United States in 90 days. I would never want to do that. But anyway, it's not like that. You want an attainable goal. Um, but so help them to focus on their attainable goals. And I've had clients that came in and they're just like, oh, my career, I'm just so upset. I feel like I've made a horrible choice being in this job or this career and all that. And moving through the process, they were really able to kind of first of all say, hey, it's not all bad. I've learned so much. And it's more about them focusing in on what is it that I really want? Okay, I'm in this job
Yeah.
right now. It's not going great, but what is it
Mm-hmm.
that I want to focus on, moving forward? And how am I going to feel good about myself at the end of the day?
And that's what it's all about. And if you're not feeling good about yourself at the end of the day, which I think a lot of people don't, what do you advise? What's that type of tips or give us some insight to the little things we could start doing to better ourselves, to, be more positive, to be better people and to not be so hard on ourselves.
Yes, definitely. So throughout each session that we have, we'll have like an experiential exercise that we'll do together, and then I'll usually give them some kind of takeaway. So in the very beginning, we'll even just start with things like, you know, cleaning out, like cleaning out the clutter, so that way you can make room for what really you want in your life. So be it I did this one when I was doing my practicum and all that. My email. So I was focusing on career at that point. My email is just horrendous, and I might have shared this before, but like that was my first thing. I'm like, I want to clean it up so I don't have all the spam in here. I don't have a million unread messages because if I'm applying for a job, I want to see that email come in,
It's,
you know.
mm-hmm. Well,
Exactly. So, it's just one step in identifying areas in your life that you're feeling like there's clutter or, you don't have control over. Just a small thing like that, being able to clear that out and get started on it. And then that makes you just, start feeling better. One thing I worked with on a client last night, we were talking about she's having a very stressful week this week. She's looking at things in her job and looking for a new job. She's, transitioning right now, interviewing, doing things like that. So what things that she is engaging in right now that are draining her energy? and what things, give her energy. So that's a huge thing, energy. And, you may be good at something. Say I worked in like data administration, and I ran a student information system, and I was very good at it. Business and technology was my bachelor's degree, so I'm good at that stuff. But I would be exhausted. It drained my energy because it wasn't like my passion.
Yeah.
Whereas being it teaching or training or podcasts or, my coaching, I might be tired because I'm busy, busy, busy. But then at the end of the day, I'm not feeling drained and just like wiped out. So being able to identify for yourself what drains you and what gives you energy doesn't mean you're going to just stop doing what drains you. You probably can't do that in many times. But the exercise that we were working on this week was okay. You look at your calendar for this week and look at even if you do it a day at a time or if you do it for the whole week and say my Monday and Wednesday are like brutal. Like I can tell you right now, I'm going to walk out at the end of the day and
Yep.
I'm going to need that. You know,
I hear you. I get it. I get it.
so on those days or during that week, just look at the small things that you can do that will treat yourself and nourish yourself. So be it like having a cup of
Self-care for
tea at the end of
ourselves,
the
as you
day.
mentioned. Yes, self-care for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Take a
Okay.
bath at the end of the day, or maybe a cup of tea, or taking a walk out in nature. Sometimes, if so
Yes.
try to balance it out so it's not all just you're wiped out and you're just completely worn out, and then you go home and eat a pizza, and then go
Yeah,
to
like
sleep.
you say, you have to have that maintain that work, that life, that harmony in a sense, right?
Yes, yes, correct. So
And just curious, at Savage Success Life Coaching, could you share the types of programs you offer? Like, how long does it take to work with someone? I think you offer a
absolutely,
90-day, but there's some other programs as well. How do
absolutely.
could you just share a little bit about how the whole process works and how you know what somebody needs?
Yes, definitely. So, I do have a few quick start programs.
Okay.
The one is ready, and it's actually it ties in with the health coaching, but it ties in with my holistic approach of mind, soul, body. So it's getting started with a 2-week cleanse. And it's not a cleanse where you can't eat and you're like, you have you have the nourishment and you're collapsing. It's more about eliminating any foods from processed foods and all that, but also things that may cause inflammation, like anything that might cause your body to react a certain way, and you cleanse yourself of them, and then it's also some suggestions of things you might want to do, like dry brushing before you get your shower or bath, taking baths, doing different things, meditating, things that will help you nourish yourself while you're doing the cleanse.
Yeah.
And then the second week you build back in foods again to see how you react to them and how you feel. So it's really taking a step back, eliminating a lot of toxins or inflammatory foods or just junk, just the junk that we do that we tend to ingest into our lives, and just to kind of eliminate that, get back to where you are mindfully eating and you are mindfully seeing how foods react to your body, like how you react to those foods, so that way. So that's something that we have. It's a 2-week thing. It's not you have to do this to do my other coaching and all that. But I just think it's a nice kickstart before you get involved in any kind of program. If you get your body to feel more balanced and whole, a lot of times it's easier for you then to work on your mind or your soul and all that. I'm working on building out another quick start for meditation. I'm still in the process of that. So I know I didn't know how to meditate. I didn't know. This sounds bad. I kept being told I don't breathe right from different people.
All right. Well, we are out of time, unfortunately.
Okay.
Would you mind sharing how we can contact you, Jennifer? Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. This was great. So again, it's savagesuccesslifecoaching.com for my website. Savagesuccesslifecoaching@gmail.com is my email. And my cell is 856-371-8185.
Beautiful. Thank you again for being here and have a fantastic day. Here's
Thank
Jennifer.
you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.